Good morning, everyone. I'm Tori, and today we're going to talk about improving employee turnover in student services through four key elements. So, a little bit about me is I first started off as a kako. I then transitioned on over to the Noyal Center as a student assistant, and I now currently work in the enrollment services or student services as the admission director's assistant. And just a little bit more about student services is that we originally had 7 student workers. We're now down to 4. Last semester, we took a big hit and we lost a few of the student workers simply because they weren't enjoying their jobs anymore and it wasn't for them. They weren't employed for long, but this job is really stressful. And I think that through the elements that I'm about to introduce to you all, we can truly improve how in student employment engagement works, how just building excitement in the workforce, really considering our jobs do get really stressful, dealing with a lot of the time students are frustrated when they actually come or call the office. So maybe these 4 key focus areas will help improving the job description and how to actually post the job, what it looks like, how we advertise it, which is similar along the lines of recruiting and doing that through both social media and in-person events. Then moving on to formal trainings and orientations, something we don't have currently, and employee appraisals, just to ensure that everyone is actually doing their jobs. So first off, job descriptions. 52% of job seekers actually indicate that the quality of the job description itself plays a large role on how they actually make that decision. So it should be both appealing, not misleading, but also concise and simple. So there's just a few things that you want to cover, which I've listed here. And Seeki, which is the current job posting site that we have across the UH campuses, does hit a lot of those hallmarks. In fact, they even go a little bit further in that. But basically, the key point is that, they list the qualifications and duties. I personally would reduce, the qualifications, change the wording a little bit here. And I feel like it should go through like a revamping to make it more appealing for the person. But essentially, this is just what we currently deal with. And along those similar lines, how we can apply that to the job description and posting for enrollment services assistance is, the job identification. Let's just say it's the administration department, student services. List the responsibilities, super straightforward, nothing excessive. Just the key things that you would do. So these are all the key things that we do in our office, from general office work, typing, scanning, filing, to office errands, to social media posts, to taking the responsibility of opening and closing the office itself when staff can't do that. And then I want to emphasize, among the qualifications, there's not many, having at least 20 credits. We never want to advocate, I know it seems unfair, but having super new freshmen taking on this responsibility and role as a front desk worker in student services because they don't have that kind of one life experience and they don't have that campus experience. A lot of us are seniors who work there or juniors, and we kind of know the frustration of the students that come in, especially financial aid. You would never believe the financial aid questions we get and the frustrations with FAFSA. Then detailing the work schedule, emphasizing that it is flexible. And then, minimum, maximum hours, and just kind of indicating the posting close date for this example is just March 1st. Starting pay and then benefits. I want to emphasize something we do not have currently is advocating for mental health services. We have free services on our campus, but I would propose that allowing student employees to attend one session a month and then clocking that hour session as like a work, they did it for work, and then putting it on their timesheet would both be beneficial to the staff and the students. So that's just something I highly advocate for. But moving on to recruiting, 79% of job seekers will actually use social media. That doesn't mean we neglect in-person opportunities, because that is what builds connections. It's something social media does not allow for. But on the topic of social media, these 3 posts are from a company that I work for outside of campus. It's called Primerica in Waipahu. This is how we market recruiting on social media. This is through IG stories. The main focus is emphasizing that business mindset. It's motivational. It creates curiosity. That's what we want to create, curiosity to reel people in. And another key thing is utilizing these poll options. You'll see that all 3 posts include a poll. This is to track interaction. Once you see that interaction, that slight interest, that's when you pursue the person. So how we can apply this to our recruiting methods is if we just include, simple posts, nothing crazy. We don't need to use IG stories, just, maybe on your feed and having a student manage that feed, create a posting on the left, which is just the open position, the requirements, very simple. Otherwise, we can go a little more in depth with the post on the right side, where it talks about the qualifications, the duties, the available hours, and pretty much just the job posting itself, like we seen on the Seeky site. And in this format, it's a lot more appealing. It allows for a lot more creativity to shine through, and it looks more attractive, and people actually want to join or apply because maybe they see, in this picture, they say this picture of all those students advertising. You're attracted to it. You see student engagement and you want to connect. But now let's kind of reel it back on to in-person events. So going back to the Primerica, this is how they advertise recruiting in real time, in person. So here we see that they have an in-person event, one night only, and there's a huge opportunity for a bunch of people to come in and just learn, engage, and interact. We can do something similar through the outdoor learning space, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., table tent setup type of thing. And just have all the departments come, even if they're not advertising at the time. It's just creating that awareness for students to know. So now utilizing training, something I really, really feel is most important here, because it's something we do not currently have. It gives employees a better understanding of their responsibilities, but most importantly, confidence. You need confidence to interact with people. You never want to allow someone to make you feel small, especially when you know what you're talking about. So Primerica, again, they utilize training throughout the entire week. In the Monday mornings, they do personal development, which is just growing that mindset, getting ready for the week, ready to take on the week. They do their 7 fundamentals and PDR training, which is sharpening their skills and learning about their products. And then on Saturdays, the training for champions is just an expansion of everything they did throughout the week and honing it in on a Saturday, on the weekend. So they're doing it all week long. We don't need to do it all week long, but having a plan for formal training. So providing a student manual is a place to start, definitely. We don't have a student manual, just, FAQs, frequently asked questions. You want to get them all down because there are a lot. Student shadowing experiences, at least 2 weeks of shadowing at the very least. It is a must. Shadow at least 3 different trainers because everyone is different. They're going to have a different take on things. They're going to have a different way they do tasks. And then you move on to the hands-on task under supervision, of course, but it should be done 3 weeks after you've ended your shadow training and followed by quizzing from the trainer on scenarios just to knowledge check. But it's conducting tasks and really getting your foot out there, but not in a super uncomfortable way, right? And then lastly, appraisals. You want to make sure you're validating your hiring process. Did you make that right decision? You want to look at if there's incentives to be had, compensation, employee development. Should they be relocated because they do better in a certain area? Maybe they should be in the financial aid department if they excel in answering financial aid questions. And this is how Google does appraisals. They use a 360-degree feedback method where employee appraisal is done by all their peers. It's accumulated and given to the manager, and they pretty much make an unbiased assessment of a certain employee, which then goes on to evaluation versus development, a discussion of performance in November, and then negotiation of compensation for those who have excelled. Student employee appraisal. It can be done by 3 students and 1 staff member. Adequate scores will result in supervisors incentivizing the student employees. So, raises are kind of hard to come by because there's steps to it. We do work on a budget, but maybe stationaries. We all love stationaries in that office, just small incentives to get us engaged, to get us excited, to make us feel like we're doing a good job because we are. And then if it's an inadequate score, maybe you have to be subject to a sit down with the supervisor, and that's totally okay. You just have to sometimes reassess. So this is what that form would look like. You'd be grading based on a check mark scale, but then also expanding through comments. Why did you grade them? What could they improve on? And then also signing off on that. And that's just the basics of everything. So how will benefit? If you haven't seen already, it'll increase applicants, decrease employee turnover, improve service outcomes, the most important, and then also improve the perception of student workers. We commonly get that we're lazy. I promise you, we are not. We're working hard. So improving that perception is extremely important to me as well. And that's my entire presentation. I hope you learned something. I hope that you feel as passionately now about this topic as I do. But thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy your week.